Pinteresting. Hi, welcome to FiberLoveDiary. I'm Trish if we haven't met, and if we have met, welcome back. How are you? Some of you are gonna be like, what's going on? I get it. I get it. This is not really in my normal niche, as YouTube calls it. I've been working on this breed study for 9 weeks, and I wanted to keep all the worksheets together in one place, and I am also going to add like a little small card with a sample later for every breed. You guys know me. I bought this black vinyl binder at the dollar store, and then I got it home and I was like, okay, I'm probably gonna have this for years, and I'm gonna hopefully add to it. That's the goal anyway, when I do new breeds and new species and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna have it on my shelf a long time, and I want it to be cute. I just didn't want some crappy, sorry, dollar store binder. I did some Googling, you know, I did some Pinteresting. What did I do? I don't know. I went on Pinterest, I looked for some ideas and found quite a few different ideas and did my own binder. I thought I'd quick show it to you guys. This is it. This was my $1 dollar store black vinyl binder. Is it cute or is it cute? So I kept it pretty simple, but it wasn't hard to do. Like, I feel like almost anybody, if you have a scissors and you have like a fat quarter of fabric, you can do this. So the things you're gonna need either a paintbrush or a foam brush, a jar of Mod Podge, or what I've read is that Mod Podge is really just watered down Elmer's glue. You do you, like, I don't really, you know, whatever. Some kind of decoupage glue is what I used. I had to use gesso. You may or may not need to do that. It was because I didn't want the black to show through this fabric, so I needed to paint it white. So if you buy a white one with light fabric, you don't need to paint it. If you buy a black one with dark fabric, you don't need to paint it. I needed 2 12 by 12 sheets of paper for the inside to cover up the ugly edges. You need a scissors, and then you'll need some kind of tool to press the paper down into the little folds inside the binder. And I use the end of my paintbrush, so if you use a paintbrush, you can just do that. And then whatever you're gonna make your title out of. Personally, if I wasn't Miss Crafty Lady, I would probably just go ahead and use like stick-on sticker letters or something like that. But whatever makes you happy to put your title on, you need that. So I've already painted one side with Mod Podge, and I did not water it down. It's straight Mod Podge from the canister. And I'm going to make sure the edges are covered really well, and then just lay it down on the fabric. I'm sure you could pre-iron your fabric, but I didn't, and all those wrinkles came right out as I glued it down, so I probably will never ever iron it again. So I have the back placed where I want it. You saw me line it up on the edge. And I'm going to cover the rest of the binder with a nice coat of Mod Podge, making sure that I do the edges really well. Be generous with this glue because you don't want it lifting up. And also, when you put the rest of the fabric on, do it with the binder closed like this so it's stretched all the way around it, and when it opens, it'll have a little give to it. As you can see, there's no science to this. Just get a nice even coat on it. It doesn't matter if it gets on the fabric, it's going to get on the fabric anyway. And then I actually like to put it on with the binder closed and lift it up along the back of the binder and then over. You can lift this and reposition it to get it straight or get any lines out or bubbles or anything. So don't stress out about this part. it's gonna look perfect. So while I was doing the second side, I kind of started to feel like I hadn't had enough glue on the first side. I went back and applied a little bit more glue and then made sure that the other side, the first side, was all positioned the way I wanted it. So while it's still wet, I decided to do the inside too, and I just flipped it open. You can see it's still wet on that corner. I had quite a bit more fabric than I needed on this end, so I cut off everything that was past about 3 inches more than the binder. Then I cut each of the corners at an angle about a 1/2 inch from the edge of the binder so that I can fit them to the corner nice and tightly. So next I just applied glue to about, I don't know, 2 inches in all the way around. And you don't need to worry too much about this because it's all going to be covered up eventually, but you want it to be glued down nicely. Okay, so at the spine, you'll be able to tuck a little bit of fabric. I'm going to say it's between 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch underneath the little thing that has the 3 rings on it. So I cut down to basically that spot on each of the folds, and then there's about, like I said, it's probably 3/8 of an inch of a little tab. Once this is all down, you can actually tuck that in under. I'm kind of trying it just to make sure I cut it enough. On each corner, you're first going to fold in along that little bevel that I made to make a nice sharp corner, and then you'll fold in from each straight edge on your material. Anytime you feel like you need to reposition or smooth or add glue, it's easy to do at this point. Again, it's all going to be covered up, so don't worry too much about how it looks. I wanted to make sure these folds would lie down smoothly and be really glued down well, so I went ahead and put some of the Mod Podge over the folds on the corners, and I'm actually really glad I did because it kind of smoothed things out for when I added the liner paper.
Don't worry at this point if it looks like a small child did it, because all that matters is that it's glued down well and the corners look good. I stood it up to let it dry so that the fabric was stretched over the binding all the way. My fear was that if it wasn't and it dried, it would move as I opened and closed it. So while the main part of the vinyl binder is drying, I'm going to go ahead and pick out some paper to use on the inside. This is thicker cardstock, but you really could use regular paper. I was looking for something patterned, even though if you know me, you know I wanted to go with the glitter. So I found these polka dots. I had to make sure I had 2 pages of it because you need one for the inside of each, and I did want them to match. And they have both of the colors from the gingham, so I went with those and grabbed them, and we'll be back when the binder's all dry to put them in. So once it was all done, I took that marker again and forced the paper down into the crease. I wanted to make sure as this binding bent and opened that the paper stayed secure. And once you're all done with this, just let it lay flat to dry.
So this is our binder. This is it open, the inside. The 2 colors from the, I don't know, check on the outside are in this polka dot, and I was thinking I was going to incorporate more colors from the polka dot, but it's getting to be too much for me. So I made this vinyl sticker. I just designed it and then printed it and cut it on its vinyl sticker paper. So it's pretty sturdy. It's sturdier than regular paper. And I'm going to just put it on the front, and then I'm going to be all done.
I did not film the design process or the silhouette cutting out process. I figured those are very specialized tools, and I wanted to keep this simple so that anyone could do it. You can definitely just use sticker letters or print something out and Mod Podge it on the covers.
So thanks for joining me. I know that was a shorty, but you really didn't need too much because it's not hard to do. Now you have a super cute and adorable little binder. And I know somebody's probably gonna ask me, can I do this with paper? You can. I've seen people do it with paper while I was doing research on how to do this. I was feeling like, you know, it would just make it easier on the like hinges if I used fabric to do the outside, and then paper just seems like the easier thing to cover up the raw edges. So that's why I chose the materials that I chose. Also, if you do it with 2 sheets of 12 by 12 paper, you have a seam up the middle, then you have to cover that. I was just worried it just wouldn't wear as well as fabric too. So like pushing in and out of a shelf, would it get dinged up on the corners and that kind of stuff? It just seemed like it would. I appreciate you watching. Thanks. I love you. Bye.